Collage. It's only been a week, and already we're adopting the local dialect. Nobody around here calls it Colosio. This was the last of 7 achingly beautiful days spent at Carl's house. He had warned us to bring sweaters and jackets, since the weather had already turned cooler at the beginning of October. And he had stocked up more firewood for us, too. But every day has been in the 70s this week, with blue skies to welcome us. How were we so lucky to be sitting in Carl's saint's room, overlooking a most beautiful vista. It all started a few years ago when Mary Ann and James asked if John and I might like to take a trip with them to celebrate turning 50. Sure. Where should we go? Greece, perhaps? So when I had a chance to bid on Carl's place at the Night for Niños auction, I jumped on it. After meeting Carl's son Peter in Nicaragua and seeing the work that Fabretto did with the kids, it was a no-brainer. We would be supporting a good cause and vacationing in Italy. So here we sit, overlooking the vista, wondering what to do with our last day in Collage before driving back to Rome. Nick stopped by and suggested dinner at his friend's restaurant at the Castillo del Roca. Sounds delicious. Eggplant with yummy cheese baked on top is their specialty. We'll go on a hike today to burn off some calories first. On Tuesday, Mary Ann and John and I had hiked to Santo Stefano, and James met us for lunch at La Lacando sul Lago. Let's go the other direction to Ofena today. James would go running, shower up, and drive over to meet us there in a few hours. Mary Ann would take her cell phone and text him when we arrived. So we set off. First stop was Bar Vittorio for a cappuccino and a pastry. We also bought some bottles of water to put in our packs for the hike. The girl at the counter asks, "How do you say in English?" "Water," we told her. "Water," she said. We all laughed. "Water." "See," we told her. "Water." Energized by the jolt of caffeine, we struck out for the trail. "You are here." An arrow pointed to Colosio with a red line marking the trail to Ofena, just over that hill. John and I were wearing hiking shoes, and Mary Ann had on slip-on Keds again. They had worked for her in the last hike. "Just a little blister," she said. "It's fine. Let's go." "Are you sure?" John asked her. "Yes. It's not every day we have a chance to hike in sunny Italy." So we headed down the gravel road. Soon we came upon an abandoned campsite, clothes and sleeping bags strewn about. Sort of creepy that she would leave her underwear out for anyone to see. We went a little way farther, and all of a sudden the road dead-ended into a driveway. Where was the path? We looked for trail markers as we continued up the ridge. That's strange. Since we weren't finding any trail markers, we followed the fence line up and up. When the sheep trail ran out, and it looked like we would find a cliff at the end, Mary Ann began to worry. Finally, we saw Ofena, way, way down below. How would we get down there? It looked like it might be easier to walk down if we went further down the ridge. John went ahead to scout the best way to get down. On the opposite side, we could see the road with all the switchbacks down below. That side was even steeper. Mary Ann said, "I wish there was a helicopter to come and pick us up." To which John replied, "Well, that's not going to happen, so let's just slow down and take our time. We'll get there eventually." A little while later, I heard Mary Ann say, "I think I'm going to cry." That really surprised me because I was having a blast. I said, "Why don't you text James and let him know that it's going to take us a little longer than we thought? Clearly, we would not be there at 1 p.m. He didn't answer immediately, but after a while she got his reply. "Are you okay?" "No," she said. I told her to say yes, so she wrote yes and no. By that time we tried going down off the ridge, and it was slow, lots of gravel and loose rock, so every step had to be deliberate. and our toes were getting smashed into the front of our shoes. All of a sudden, I heard sobbing behind me. Or was it laughing? I turned around, and there sat Mary Ann on a rock with her head in her hands, weeping. "I don't think I can make it all the way down there." "Yes, you can. Just look how far we've come already. We'll go one step at a time, and we'll make it. You go first." It was getting even harder, so we inched our way down and finally saw a trail marker. We had found the horse trail. Woo-hoo! Now we were entering the olive grove. All right, there's a dirt road. It's leading towards the main road. We could see James down there driving up and down looking for us. Mary Ann sent another text. "We see you. We're almost there." What a relief. We finally made it to the main road. Should we walk into town? Mary Ann sat down and exclaimed, "No. I can't believe I made it, but I can't take another step. I'm exhausted." While she was texting James so he could come and find us, a nice lady stopped her car and asked if we would like a ride into town. John said, "As soon as we get into this car, James will come around the corner." No sooner than we had settled ourselves into that car, James appeared, and Mary Ann's face lit up. This was no mirage, and all those text messages only cost $3.50, worth every penny. What a modern wonder. On the way back to Kalash, we were too tired to find a restaurant to eat lunch, but did stop at our favorite winery for a few bottles of Gentile Montepulciano, the local Abruzzo red. When we returned to Carl's, we pulled some chairs up to the top of the garden and sipped some wine and good cheese and bread and mortadella and olives. We gazed towards Ofena. Yep, we sure did burn off a few calories today. And that made us so much more hungry for one final big feast before we left our dear Kalash. Looking back, Mary Ann mused, "I could use some baked cheese and eggplant now. And why was the wine in Italy so much better?" When I asked Mary Ann how she felt about the hike, she told me she does not look back on it as fun, but as a great adventure that does not have to be repeated. Ever.